Hello, you beautiful people. I hope you're all keeping well and you've had good weeks. As always, I'm excited to have another go at this game, simply because the freedom that the photo mode gives you, you're not tied to the orbital mode. Now, the idea behind this is that a while back, while I was still sort of working out what sort of videos to make out of these streams, I came up with the idea of a barely educational explanation of what or how to take a picture in video games that's more than just a screenshot. With this stream, what I'm going to try and do is capture some videos and demonstrate how to approach the thing that you found interest, your subject, and get an actual picture out of it instead of just a screenshot. So let's see how we get on. Now this is an idea for a photo. If I can get it. So, yes, I've set this up, and it's an idea I had before. So, this would be a standard screenshot. Just taking the picture as you see it, but you can actually do quite a bit through composition. So we've got framing here. So they're framed by the chair, they're framed by the legs. So we can look at that angle. Possibly have set that up first so we can have a look. Near focal distance. And then just having a look.
Taking photos again. Yes, I'm fine, happy now it's the weekend.
Oh my days. Yeah, it is finally here. But yeah, that's basically what this entire channel is taking photos. I mean, yeah, because I set this channel up to be a resource that wasn't available when I first got into virtual photography, and that is how to actually do it, how to approach it. For people who enjoy just taking or getting screenshots, and how you can approach them and get the most out of the scene or the accomplishment that you want to record. So that is what I'm doing. Now, I'm thinking of changing the angle. I can rise a bit. Because I want to get more of the story into there. And this guy with the axe, I want to get all of the axe in there. I mean, it is a challenge because there isn't a grid on here. And also, I tend to do this, which is putting it into a 16:9 aspect. Now, I've got a little bit of the guard in there.
Rat food again.
I have indeed. Yeah, pretty much just before you started. No, I wasn't rat food. I was speared. I didn't actually get eaten by rats. So that's an improvement, I suppose. But I'm quite happy with the tale that this is telling, and I've put a tilt on it simply because that adds a little bit more suspense. So I'm going to hide the UI. So yeah, last time I was quite happy with the really close wall part or gap that they're going through. Sorry, my eyes are starting to sting again. So I just need to have a little bit of a wipe. I'll just put this up, otherwise you hear cloth scrape. I do apologise, it is hay fever time. We've got her there. Depth of field. Just to make her stand out a little bit more. So you can go for your typical central shot. And again, without the tilt. Without the grid, I can't exactly show you the composition.
A long day.
Yeah, no, it's just hay fever, I think. Because I tend to get it throughout the year, the itchy eye thing. But it certainly happens more around about springtime. It's like the tree pollen and things like that. But it's such a beautiful time of year. I can't complain about it. So yeah, some of the things you can do with this, you can set it up on one of the thirds for extra tension. You can have it set it out on that side. I mean, she's looking directly towards you, so having her on the looking out of the frame doesn't work so well. Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's not the most fun in the world, but I've learnt to not get too upset about it or fussed about it, because what's it going to change, really? Still going to have it. I'm actually quite liking that. Just think there would be the upper third, and without the grid, all I'm doing is just using my feelings. How does it feel? Does that look like a balanced image? I mean, some of the things that drew me to taking the same picture again, but in this area, is the different textures. So the rocks on the walls, the wood of the beam, the ivy on the floor, and that sort of thing. It's got some good lighting on her as well. So I'm just going to get that picture and carry on. But we are going for one with all those hanging down. And again, this is an example of just seeing something cool and working out how to incorporate it. I'm actually in the ground right now, so that's a little bit too far. But I am rather liking that. Now with the tilt, it does afford me a bit more vertical view, so I can incorporate more of these birds into there. I just didn't want anything coming out of her back. I may actually...
Aging really sucks.
Oh my days, doesn't it just? All of the things that you took for granted, or all of the things you did in your younger age and you thought, oh no, that's fine, it catches up on you. So yeah, it really, really does suck. Now another thing about photography is you want to eliminate as much unnecessary stuff as possible, but I actually preferred the extra space because it's quite a busy picture, but I quite like her over there. Now there's some trees that sort of come over like that, so I'm gonna see if I can use that to frame her a little bit better. I may even move over so that little bit of foliage isn't so like that. So we've now got a little bit of brightness behind her head, which allows her to stand out a little bit more. or some of her features. And it also, I will get this the right way around, allows me to bring this round a touch and put her more centrally in there. So she's got a nice frame around her head. And you can use anything as a frame. It's just anything that outlines your subject is what you want to go for. We've got the crows that are interesting subjects, but they're secondary. And we've got herself. Now I've got that set up, I'm going to work on the depth of field just to blur out the background so it's not too distracting. Because again, it's just the birds that we want. You see she stands out a little bit more with the depth of field on there, and you can increase that as well. Actually, I just need to tilt that around a bit because that corner of the fence was a little bit too distracting. I'm going to work on near focus, see if that also works. So I don't need all of her in focus, but just some, like the large majority. But the main thing is that we've blurred out some of the foreground as well, so really just accentuates that her and the birds are the main thing. I mean, the branch at the very top, there's nothing I can do with that, but I think that works as an image. So let's get that picture. Other things you can do, again, have a look out of the frame, can add a little bit of suspense to it, especially with a pose like that. And nearsighted pulled back a tad. I can afford to pull all the way back because there's not that much foreground, so it makes sure that she's really sharp focus. And so I can go as far as there and get away with it. Maybe drop down a tad. So we've lost the impact of the birds doing that, but again, you're looking at an image and you don't know what she's looking at, and that can add some suspense to it. Increasing that with some more tilt. I'm going to get that, and that just gives me a choice. And again, with most good camera modes, you have a chance of taking different angles as well, so truly exploring what is around you to get the best out of a scene, like so. So I want that branch in there. I think that's an important aspect. Maybe frame it off on that tree. I don't want it too central, so I may lose a bird, because that places her on the upper third. That places her on the bottom third. Again on that side, I think that is the better one to do. For a shot. And that's more of a focus on the birds than herself, but she is still in focus. And again, you can use near focus to draw the eye into her. Depth of field. I'm just looking at her, so that is also something that brings all of these characters out. I'll take that one as well. So that's some of the techniques that you can use. I mean, some of the other things in there that I haven't described while taking it because I didn't consider it is the fact that she is bright against a fairly dark background. It's got some good light on the tree as well, that sort of golden hue to it, but it's a grey blue in the background. The birds are a little bit lost, but been that there's not that much detail in them. No criticism of the developers there. I think that that also helps. The whatever that is, that wicker thing with the wood against it, I would prefer to not have that, but it doesn't detract from it. Trying to think. That's pretty much all the visual patterns that I can see. You could argue round about waist height where that white is coming through on the ground could be a leading line. Maybe the wood behind her. But clutching at straws there. Ooh. Okay, let's have a muck around with this light. So I'm using negative space at the table. Again, fill in the... Well, let's tilt it first before I start saying, oh yeah, I filled the frame, it's all lovely. Don't really need to do wacky angles on this one. Drop that down a bit. Move it to... No, I don't want to move it to the right. I was quite happy fairly central. Raise the exposure a tad. Not too much. Oh, that's interesting. So I'm liking the negative space thing. Just go this side. More of the frame, but not the hands. Drop across because I'm rather liking the flower framed behind her. A bit more to the right. So it is a very soft light on her face because you'd expect she's in the shed underneath a table. So you've got a really nice contrast. You've got quite a harsh light on her cheek there, which I think works quite well. The flowers come in from behind her ear, which is nice. Flowers in the background I quite enjoy. It's a close crop, as you would expect. As I said before, there's some negative space. Whether I keep the wood there or drop the shadows more, because I think if it had the option, oh, it does have the option, it could potentially make a good black and white picture with that. So noir would be high contrast type stuff, but I'm not going for that. Brightness increases her face, so it highlights effectively. And then back to exposure. And that brings a bit more to it. You can just make out the eyes there. So I'm quite happy with the light. You haven't lost the impact of the white on her cheek. I'm certainly getting a crooked neck looking that way for this long. So the next thing is depth of field. I love that flower behind her, but we don't really need it that much in focus. Something like that works quite well. You can see what it is, but it's not too distracting. I'm going to take this picture and I'm going to drop it to see if I can get that the bottom of the wood to be half of the screen. So now I do have the hand in there, which is something I wanted to avoid, but I'm just going to run with it. Pardon me. Let's get that shot as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. One of my aims is just to show the different techniques that you can use and different compositions and just ideas on how to get the most out of your pictures. I believe the key thing to take from this is you've got a large hard disk. You're not reliant on a reel of film anymore. So experiment and don't be afraid
Have
to
a
go
good
back
evening,
to your
bro.
old... And yourself, my man. And don't be afraid to go back to your old pictures and have a look and see what drew you to that picture, and that will help you develop your style as well. But either way, we say goodbye so we can say hello again. Goodbye.